Stop thinking that simple is easier, because trust me, it is not. Starting off, I'm going to wipe my client's nail down with some acetone because they were looking real crusty. And next, I'm going to prepare the simple nail art with putting the matte top coat on. And when I say simple, I am putting up the bunny ears, the quotation marks, simple. Yeah, right. When I first started doing our nails, I swore simple was easier. But once you start doing it, you notice doing simple nail art is way more tedious than any other nail art. So when your client whips out some simple nail art and be like, oh, this is simple, I just want something real quick. Girl, this is not going to be real quick. Unless you have mastered getting a straight line perfect the first time, then simple nails is going to be for you. But for my girlies who still make little mistakes here and there, simple nails can be a struggle. And I still struggle with them till this day. Like, as much as I practice and as much as I do the nail art, it's like either you got it one day or you don't, you know? Now, this time I ain't have it. It was a little rocky. But we got there. So starting off, I'm going to use my matte top coat to make this process smoother. The best tip for creating a perfect French tip is to have a guideline, a line where the sides are going to meet the middle. That is going to be your best friend. Now, if you can freeball it, go ahead and freeball it. When I started doing this, I noticed it cut down less time, and I didn't have to keep wiping off the French tip and doing it over again, and wiping off and doing it over again, like how I used to when I would just freeball it. And you want to make sure you have a good enough product on your brush, because that is also going to help the lines come out smoothly. If you don't have enough product on your brush, it's going to come out streaky and wiggly, and it's just not going to go on as smooth as possible. I'm not saying have a whole pile of gel on your brush. No. But you want it to be saturated enough to where you can just do that one little swipe and it will just flow. Knowing the different type of French tip can also help you out with how high you have to go up and how deep you want to go. There are several different type of French tip, but the three basic ones that I could tell you about is you have your round, you have your oval, and then you have your almond. Now, the almond usually is a French tip that you see that kind of comes towards a point more. And then the oval one is kind of like in the middle. And then you have your round. And the round is what I'm doing on my client right now. This is what she told me she liked. Because when I did the almond at first, she didn't like it. And she told me she wanted it more rounder. So I was like, okay, you want round French tips? And she was like, yes. And always make sure you reinsure with your client every step of the way. I know it can be a headache sometimes, but clients don't like to speak up. And then they will walk away knowing that they don't like the nails, just to text you days later, hey, I don't like my nails, when you should have told me that when you was in my chair. So to kind of defeat that text message, I like to ask them throughout every step, hey, do you like this? Hey, do you like this? Because sometimes they don't be wanting to speak up. And also put it in your policies. If you leave my chair without letting me know you don't like something, that doesn't have anything to do with me. But, put it more nicer than that. And asking, hey, do you like this? And they be like, no, I don't like it. You have to ask them, well, what don't you like about it? Because I know sometimes their response can be very vague. And you're like, okay, you don't like it? Like, what you mean you don't like it? You don't like the whole thing? You don't like how pointy it is? You don't like how round it is? Like, you're going to have to give me some type of description before I go ahead and wipe this whole thing off. In this clip right here, I was asking my client, how does she like it? She was telling me how she wanted it more rounder, like how the pinky was. Because you could tell by the pointer finger that one is kind of more on the almond side. So I'm going to show y'all how to fix that real quickly without wiping off the whole thing. So you could just take your acetone and wipe off the edges, like make them farther apart. Because with the almond, the edges, the sides of the nails be more closer together. And that's what give it that slim almond point. So instead of me wiping it all off, I was like, okay, let me just widen it where it comes really close at, so it won't give that slimmer look. With doing these French tips, you want to get you a cleanup brush that's pointed. You don't want to have the regular flat cleanup brush or the regular round one, because sometimes they can be too wide and you could end up messing up the whole thing. But with the pointed one, you could get in those little crevices and it won't mess up your whole nail. The brush will be linked down below, so y'all go copy one. I'm going to go ahead and finish off these French tips, and then we could get into the outline. starting off with doing the French outline. This is a task at itself. So you might want to prepare yourself. Prepare your acetone, because trust me, you're going to need it, and your brush. I might have struggled with this one a little bit because I did freeball it. I didn't end up doing a guideline thing. I wonder if you could do a guideline with this one, because I didn't know if it was going to make it too wide or whatnot. But I'm going to try that out the next time I practice my line work. But starting off, it's the same way like how you would do the French tip. You start from sidewall to sidewall. But the only difference is you're not going to be filling in the tip. It's just going to be the line. So the line has to be really crisp. To make the line extra crisp, you want to have the same brush that we use to clean up the French tip. This is the same brush we're going to use to clean up this line. But the only difference is you do not want to put a whole bunch of acetone on the brush, because once you lay it down on the nail, the acetone does spread and it can mess up the whole design. So you want it to be saturated enough, but not too saturated, if that makes sense. Because when it's saturated just enough, it kind of does the work for you, and you don't have to like go... If your hand is like shaky, it won't mess up the design, because at that point the acetone is going to kind of even it out for you. But then if you have too much, it could spread out over the whole nail and melt the whole design away. Once you get that line as straight as possible, or good enough to your likings or your client's likings, go ahead and cure that line. Don't wait and try to do like the abstract on the tip, and then you're going to end up messing up your line, and then you're going to be pissed because you're going to have to take the whole thing off. So just go ahead and cure it and go on about your day. abstract nails, the best advice is to just go with the flow and don't think too hard about it, and to leave some space and some room in the nails to where you can still see the base of the nail, to where it would just be the line work showing off itself. Even if you freestyle it, you still want to think about in your head how it's going to turn out at the end, especially when you're doing two different colors, because you have to leave some type of room for that second color when you lay down the first color, because you don't want to lay down too much of the first color, and then now when you lay down the second color, it's taking up too much space on the nail, and then you're not going to be able to see the line work like that. The green that's on my palette, we customized that color to her likings. If you want to see me customize colors and go into detail about the different color ratio, check out my cartoon nail art videos. In those videos, I go into deep detail about mixing colors, undertones, everything. This is the final product. If you haven't already, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm going to see you guys in my next one. Bye.